We coming in. Action.
I don't see the camera. Is it here? Hey, do you like art? Are you worried about inflation and rising fuel costs? Have you ever ejaculated your French bulldog with a Ziploc bag and then sucked out the semen with a straw so you can spit it into your other French bulldog? Is tomorrow trash day? Well, then you come to the right place.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome back. We don't know Jack. We're going all in. Let's go around the horn here. On my right is Kevin, our producer, the ace.
What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Happy International Women's Day. I'm rocking the Ace Queen shirt. Can't be tamed. I don't know if they're going to like that, but they can't. Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
My boy Mikey.
Shout out.
What's up, brother? The king.
In the building.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
See you. And the man of the hour.
Guest. Do you like art? Because we got an artist up in the house.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Troy Garza of 209.
Yeah.
Troy.
First off, I'm not the one that drugged over the bulldog. That's what I'm going to say, too.
Throw that out there, right?
So we'll get to it. The bulldog's all about me, so we'll get to it.
But let me tell you this. Troy sent us some text messages, man, of some provocative pictures of freaking dogs, man. Like dogs wearing like booby costumes and spandex tights. But the dog was just totally naked, but it looked like human legs the way it was spread out like it wanted some, you know? And I was like, what's going on with this? This is, but then he explained it. He wants to make like a website called Porn Dogs.
Porn dogs.
The whole concept was like, I think it's brilliant to the fact that people always like, you've got the same dog that my sister has, Henry.
Yeah.
Anybody comes in the shop, like, you think about breeding it? You think about this?
Yeah.
And I think most of the time it's like, that doesn't work on a dating site, right? Like, if I went and say, hey, you want to breed with me or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just feeling them out. Like, what does the dog like? Send me some pictures, those types of things.
Oh, dude, that would be awesome. For Frenchies, I think you would kill it.
I think so too, man.
Absolutely.
Man, so I think Frenchies is a targeted marketing. I actually have like this whole company built that me and my wife are kind of building on a retirement fund or retirement plan to sell Frenchie stuff because it's such a cornered market, right. And people that buy French bulldogs, and your sister will know, they got a lot of money.
What's the name of it? Like Frenchie kissing or
French
something?
Bulldog Merchandise is what I have the LLC
That's
is.
a dumb name.
I bought it. Yeah, well, fuck off.
It's so generic, man. I'm out of here.
That's not the company.
French
man.
Bulldog Inc. Interesting.
No, it's not there yet. But man, Frenchies are great, and we do have that in common. I was sending my dog fucking one of my other dogs a video of that. Pretty funny shit. All right, man, Nico. So what we got today, man? Troy's here, and we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. He's actually been in the studio for a while, checking out some of our live edge, and man, he knows what he's talking about on that. I'm excited for him to be.
Yeah. So Troy's actually, we might get into this during the interview, but he was breaking down just kind of the history of how he got to where he's at right now. Mm-hmm. But man, just so because we've got people watching that don't know you, and of course you've got people who are watching right now. Man, what is the difference between 209th Designs and Dahlia's house? I know, like, it seems like they're together, but...
Okay, so we have 209 Design House, but prior to that, when my mom died, the shop was called Dahlia's Home Living.
Okay.
So we try to market the shop that way, and we did gain some traction, but since my mom had passed away, it was just everyone that was coming to the shop was like, so what's the story with this? And I would have to explain, well, my mom died, we did this. And so anyway, we just went with 209 Design after the first year. And that's really when it started taking off. So we have 209 Design House, and then right next door we have Muse 301.
Okay.
So they're two separate showrooms. So I do more traditional, like, you see a lot of the live edge, like pure white furniture in 209 Designs. Muse is more of like your statement pieces. The bowls, like navies, the greens, reds. So we do
that's the stuff I like.
So we have like two separate shops. It's only two separate tastes with people. So I try to appeal to a little bit of it's everybody.
It is a lot. Let me put you up because a lot of that furniture is that like custom pieces that you build from like scratch, or
so we do, yeah. So that's the thing. So we do some builds that are built like from scratch. Other stuff that we're doing is we're taking like true antique pieces. Like my wheeled house is like Art Deco and mid-century modern. I mean, our house is like, if you go to my house, that's what we have. I like to work stuff like prior to 1970s in furniture and everything. It looks brand new, but they're actually pieces from that time era.
It's like solid wood, so it's better to work with, right?
Yeah, it's easier. It's solid wood, or like the veneers are a little bit better quality than they are like now. So the furniture has like some longevity like to it like already. So some of the pieces, it kind of freaks me out because, you know, I'm getting older. I'm working on pieces that are like 100 years old.
Awesome.
And then it's like, you know, I think the beauty of it is how everything comes full circle. Like a lot of the furniture that we work on, it has a history to it.
Yeah,
you just have to look for marks, look how it's made. You can kind of tell where it's from. But then realizing that furniture was probably really expensive back then. And it was running in houses that I probably couldn't even go in. You know, it'd probably be like these guys are, you know, and I'm sitting here now. Everything comes like full circle again. And, you know, so.
Are you going out and finding these pieces, or are these pieces that are brought to you? You know, do you have like clients that are like, man, I found this. Can you make it, like, fix it up for me?
So we have it. There's a different dynamic. You know, I have stuff in the showroom that you can just come in and buy. Then we have people that are looking for stuff that we can find. And then a big part of our business is custom, meaning that, you know, you could bring a piece to me and then tell me what you want. And we go with the existing piece that someone else has. I tried to look for furniture, and all these shows made it look so easy.
Yeah.
So everybody, like every soccer mom in America was like, oh, I can paint, I can chalk paint, I can do this. And they were buying furniture, and it was just basically making the price go up. So now I deal with pickers. So if I need to get 15 dressers, I can get them from like one guy. Instead of having to go around looking at places. And a lot of times,
let them source it.
Yeah, the thing is, if I go now, a lot of times people know who I am. So the price, so the price is like, I already know what you can sell for.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like,
so they know your market.
I go with a beard like this.
Yeah.
I drink all the Frenchies, and I'm pretty sure they'll give it to me.
Man, so what was funny is that we brought Troy in a little bit early so I could show him my wood shop, and my guys out there were like, after you left, he's like, we got to go check that shit out, you know? So I thought I was going to impress you, but you actually impressed us with all the knowledge, man. I appreciate it, and man, I'm excited to hear about the lacquer. Yeah. We don't have to talk about it on the show because it's probably not interesting to a lot of people, but it's really unique. And, you know, we just had a cool chat in the back, man. I thought it was pretty sweet. I was going to try to show off a little bit. He ended up showing off.
Took your shirt off. I was like,
dude. You showing off there, man.
Sounds about right.
So y'all do a few different things between the two showrooms. Like there's jewelry, then there's the furniture. But then I've seen like accent pieces of art and then paintings, right? What do you find like you're more drawn to want to do?
You know, furniture is probably what I feel like if someone's born to do something, it feel like it was for furniture. That was just kind of like, I love doing it. Canvas art I got into about maybe a year and a half ago, and it was just a mean to an end that I needed stuff on the wall, and I would see stuff out there, and it was kind of like, man, I could do that. I really thought I could. And then
I say that all the time, like, I could do that.
And I started painting on canvas, and I met a guy named Bo Huff, and man, Bo is just a phenomenal artist. He was at the shop today, and he's opening up a gallery here in a couple of months, and he said, why don't you start painting? And I did, and it just kind of took off from there. So I mean, painting likes me, but I have to work myself up and come up with a concept for canvas art. Or with furniture, it's kind of I kind of know what I want to do. I feel like I want
for your like furniture and the art pieces. Or is it like multiple things? Like if someone's like, oh, I like that, I want that. Like, do you have several of that, or is it just like one?
Basically, what you're going to see the shop's going to be like a one-off, and to me, it's like I like doing that because
that's
it's like
the best.
I don't like the cookie cutter type stuff. There's some colors that I do mix, and I'll, you know, I can basically keep like my ratios like with the scale that I'm weighing in how much I can do, and I can come close. But I like the fact that it's like where when I make something, I'm not even sure if I can replicate it like again, and I think that it adds more value like at the end.
For sure, I would think on branding also like. Your stuff, people with money are going to say, oh no, I want to go there because I'm going to get a piece that no one else is going to have.
Right, and that's the thing too. Yeah, that's like really what we go for. It's kind of like, you know, getting people that like people are going to ask about the piece, and then realizing that, you know, to me, I would never like in the clothing business, like when I would like design clothing, we have to do a run of like, you know, too small, too medium, too large, extra large, you know, 2X. And the biggest fear that women had was like when they would go into a place, like, oh, what if someone's wearing what I'm wearing? You know, like one of those things. I didn't want that with furniture. I want it to be just completely unique, and it has a soul of its own.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I always found that it's like, you know, I might not be a guy that has the money to go wherever I want, but I figure my furniture can. Mm-hmm. So when we have stuff go in other places, I feel like, you know, I'm well traveled in the art with what we do.
Yeah,
that's a great concept.
Yeah, man.
So all y'all know I'm in the furniture business, but I'm in the office furniture business. So I'm like over here drooling, like, man, this sounds great. Like we're selling cookie cutters, what we do, you know. Well, so man, it's so awesome how creative you are to get.
It is, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was stuck on your page just looking at your furniture and everything, and I just started to send it to people, and I was like, man, check this out. Y'all check this out. People that are into unique pieces and something that, you know, decor people that are like, you know, dressing up a bedroom or
make sure you got
different stuff. I was like, man, that's what
make sure you got good
that's some shit. So in my mind, I'm looking at this.
Raina's house, the pictures of my kids, like what is going on? Like, man, why does he have yard?
Yeah, I mean, I saw pictures of your kids.
What's the like average price of you know something there? You know?
Oh man, you want to go there? No, man. Like my concept, man. This is like
it's worth it.
It's worth it. My knowledge.
No, absolutely. I mean, looking at it. I mean, just from online and like whatever.
To be honest, we're gonna edit this out.
No, you don't have to answer. Tell them to come in. Come in.
No, to be honest, man, with my mom, like she played such an important role in everything. And when you realize that, you know, we didn't grow up to have what I do.
Yeah.
And she made that really clear. So she always tell me there's more people like us than there are out there that's just gonna buy some real expensive stuff. So we always do our pricing, which is affordable, because to me it's like everybody wants to be great at something, but it's like, to me it's like there's no greater feeling than more people having it and able to attain it. And that was the one thing that I wanted to break down with art, is the fact that it's not for the people that are super rich and like at these art shows and this. It's for everyday people. That's why they have it at Hobby Lobby. That's why you go to Walmart and buy art. You know, people will buy it. They just think that they can't buy the good stuff. Yeah. But we keep ours like, you know, extremely reasonable. So, you know, an average dresser, you know, can go from 800 to, you know, on out.
Yeah, I'm glad you answered that and you weren't scared to, because, you know, some people was like, well, you know, don't talk about pricing, but if you're confident in what you do, it shouldn't be a problem. And if you're trying to attract people like us, because for me, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can afford anything.
So one of the things we are going to do is that me and Jared definitely want to go over there and view your place and see your operation. And I don't mind doing a little filming over there so people can, we'll upload it up to the channel so they can actually see the different types of pieces, do like a little virtual showroom, and you can show some of the prices. And I'm sure that you can work with people in their budgets too.
We do, and we also have like flexible payment plans, you know what I mean, where it works almost like a layaway, but you can take it. That's the whole thing too. And I find that, you know, people, they just need a break sometimes. And when we do that, you find that you have loyal customers for a long time. My thing was like, I want people to grow into our brand. So maybe you can't afford the live edge tables that we're building, but you know, you still have something of ours, and it gives you something to attain to like later. And that's the thing too. Some people like can get like other artists. I mean, we have trollers like on, you know, that's their job, is to like make your life miserable.
Yeah.
But our shop's always open, and I always say that we work with a lot of confidence. And if you're confident to say what you want to say, our shop's open and come paint against us anytime, and I'm ready to go. Like,
dojo store?
Dojo store? Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's like Fight Club.
Hey, man, the first
if you want to battle out some furniture, go to 209, man. Throw it down.
209, man. Hey, I did want to ask you this, man, because you gave us a couple of stops, like obviously after high school, and we all at different times went to Klein, but. You were in Southwest Texas, then you were down in Austin, and then over in California. I mean, did the art come along the way, or is this something that you were doing when you were a young kid? You know, like when did you realize? Like,
no, man, I was terrible at art, man. You know, I always say that I had 1 full year at art, like at Klein. It was a Mr. Ferris, and I failed art twice. So when people tell me that it's like,
kids,
you know, people, you can still do it. So when people say that art's like interpretive or whatever it is. Technically it's not, and you find that, you know, education is a big part of like art, but that's just a way that, like, you know, you might have a cosmetic surgeon that's charging these crazy prices, but then it's like, well, I went to school for this, and it gives them clout to charge more. The art world like that, you know, I mean, when I was a kid, I wasn't really this artistic like kid. I mean, I love clothing. I like the way that it's like things like worked in people's homes. Like, a lot of times I've always felt that if you have like a place that doesn't look like what you want, sometimes it can make your home life a little bit like more depressing. So I just felt like I knew that with one piece that's changed that they love could change a whole attitude with people. And I went that direction, and like I said, I never really looked back, but I would never say like the art stuff. I think I started when I was getting my first piece of furniture when I was like about to turn 40. And I had never done that like ever. And then it kind of just went from there. I mean, I battled a lot with like, you know, I want to be like a professional drinker. Like my goals when I was younger was to be drunk in every state. Like that was like a goal that I had, you know. And I already beat you on that.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me you gave up on that goal? Man, quitter. Pussy, quitter.
Harris County actually had a process. And
so we do have a lot in common.
Yeah, so we did. And it was, like I said, you know, I always felt like it's not a matter of like when you start. It's a matter of like how you're going to finish. And I really surrendered my life into furniture, and I think that's what made a big difference, where I felt like it was more of this, you know, we talked a lot about like the gospel and things like that, but it's something that there's this this transfer that I feel that, you know, I know this guy was over here talking about, you know, certain things you believe and you don't believe, but what I can tell you that, like at our shop, there's this transfer of my soul into what I'm doing and giving life into something else. So when he said, I don't believe that, like, you know, somebody died for me, that furniture probably doesn't believe it's what meets me. And then when I tell it here, it's like I was made to work on you. And there's no bottom line like with it. There's furniture that I do pass out. So not every piece is for me. Yeah. But at the beginning there was, I would paint anything that would move. And now it's like I can be more selective on what I want to do towards my style.
Yeah. I have a question, and you might have answered this already. So just for the people watching, I'm producing this show live. So I'm manipulating the cameras. There's no post-production. So if I miss this, I apologize. So what would you consider your brand or your style or your design? Because I kind of saw some mid-century modern in there. And then we talked about the lacquer, which I think was kind of a dying art, but now it sounds like you're trying to bring it back. And then there's some antique pieces in there, Art Deco. And I heard you make a funny comment about people using the chalk. Chalk paint, you know, where you know, distressed look, and everyone thought they became a furniture artist and stuff. So do you have a definition of what your brand and what your style is?
You know, I tell people it's kind of like, you know, I think that there's this misconception with things that people talk about a brand. Yeah. So I always say that it's like, it's one thing for me to say that I have a brand, but it's more of like, my lifestyle is the brand that I represent. Yeah. So if you came to my house, it's no different than our showrooms and our floor. Like I think our best pieces are actually in our home because I'm doing those like for myself.
So if you could just give the address out to all the viewers.
It was funny.
And your social security number and credit card information.
And it's funny because it drives my wife crazy that if you ask me for my address to the house, I would have to pull my wallet out. Because I don't memorize numbers that I don't think that I need that much. Because it just clogs my brain. So it's like I don't even know my home address, to be honest.
What are numbers?
I admire this, though, because I'm in the furniture business, and I do not have, like, the greatest furniture. Like, sometimes I'll just bring home pieces from work and this and that. And it's kind of funny because my other friend's a carpenter, and, like, Jared that you were actually talking to, he builds houses and all that, but he's like, my house is a piece of shit because he doesn't want to go home and do that, you know? And like for me, furniture is furniture, especially because we do use commercial. That, I mean, things come and go. I mean, we're doing huge liquidations, but I think it's really cool that you've basically lived that lifestyle. You know, when I go home, I mean, I still think about work, but I'm not going into my nice showroom or anything. But I think that's pretty unique.
Dog jerk off.
Thanks for telling us. Thanks for telling us that, Kevin.
Yeah,
that's
awesome. I think what that is just the passion of like loving what it is that you're doing.
Yeah,
he loves jerking off dogs.
Let me clear the air. So I am a French.
Sucking dogs and no blood.
Can I clear the air so I don't look like a weirdo? I breed French bulldogs. I breed French bulldogs, which requires semen.
Sucking off.
French bulldogs cannot mate naturally because of their low back and the way their structure is. So you manipulate the dog with the girl in heat. You put it in a bag, you suck it out, and then you insert it into the.
What do you suck it out with?
A pipette. I was joking with the straw. You suck it out with a pipette, and then you insert it, goes in, and you.
Sounds like you're changing your
tube. It's called artificial insemination. It's a thing, and a lot of people think it's real weird, but I'm going to tell you this story about this guy. He bought a dog for $25,000, and a lot of people think that's fucking crazy. This guy has 80 breeds that he's done with that dog. He charges $5,000 for the semen. So this guy goes around and jerks off his dog and comes home with just racks and racks of money, dude. He's made over $500,000 off that dog. So if you want to get on the jerk off industry with the dogs, hit me up. That's the story. And Nico,
I don't, but it's like,
Man, when we talk about going all in,
if you ever want to watch,
all in.
if you ever want to watch, let me know. You know, let
Dude,
me
that's
know.
what we should do.
So do you
Upload a
play,
video
like,
like that.
Hey, I was gonna bring Napoleon because I thought you had a French.
my
bulldog.
sister is actually, well, she has, but she's actually going to bring it because she wanted to ask you questions. And
Yeah.
it comes down because she wants to breed it.
Oh, she does.
So, yeah.
It's a girl.
She wants to see the size of his hands.
It's
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like,
I'm not drinking alcohol. They're lotioned up, man. They're good. Hey, my dog's pretty horny. It does not take much. It does not take much. I will tell you another
well,
word.
the trick is really to work them up before, right? Like get them going.
No, he's ready. He's ready.
Okay. He's ready to pop. Just ready
So
to go.
when a girl's in heat and your dog's the male just goes crazy. He starts chattering his teeth and this and that and whining. And a lot of times I'll separate my dogs from households so that doesn't happen and he can keep his nose clear. And it bothers the male dog a lot. And so it was just so bad one day. I'm like, maybe if I just go jerk. We weren't breeding them this time. And I was like, maybe.
This is
weird. All right, guys.
So this is getting weird. Yeah, so I was like,
weird,
like, maybe I should just go fucking let him go. You know, just relieve him, see if he'll relax. I have a breeder network of a lot of mentors. We're a tight-knit community. We're serious about this dog breed. And I text all of them, hey, have y'all ever done this? And they're like, no, maybe, never tried.
Right.
I did it. 5 minutes later, he was ready. Back in the sack, dude, ready to go. I mean, it didn't do anything, and I jerked my dog off for nothing. So
it wasted
Dude.
$5,000.
This is nasty,
Hit the
bro.
floor. Good Lord.
it is what it is, man.
Was it over the pants?
No. It's real life.
Dang,
It's
dude.
real life. We can do it live one day if y'all want to see it, or you can YouTube
Oh my
it. I mean, it's
God,
pretty
dude.
common practice.
Two things
you
would
know?
happen. One, we'd go viral. Two, we'd be canceled.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that'd
we'd be
a
canceled.
problem.
There's plenty of videos.
You
of
probably
guys
get
jacking
like,
off dogs.
there is?
Oh yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I'll send some links in there so you can see that if you're interested.
Yeah.
You're the one that brought up dog
I
porn.
would love
You
to
said
watch it,
dog
dude.
porn. Like, I don't know. This is
like our TV. and
this
it's
is how it starts. You know?
All right, man. So you're
All right, let's get back on topic.
You're-
Sorry,
you're
I got
looking at
little
a
weird.
piece,
Yes.
and your creative process, just from an artist who gained art in their life, somewhere towards the age of 40. Like, what does that process look like, man? Do you listen to music? If so, what's the music like? Like what? Do you need a right setting? What's your?
Normally when it goes into it, like I'll see a piece and it's kind of like, I always relate it to like a person. So it's just like, you met your wife, you met this, you kind of see this thing and sometimes you just see, I'm going to build a future with this thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'll see a piece that I really like, and the crazy thing is, which I try to tell people, which is really hard for people to grasp, it's the fact that it's like I can see the piece complete, like in my head. So like I can look at it, I can see it navy, I can see it gold, I can see it physically, like just by looking at it. But then it's like when I go into the prepping process, I like to listen to like Waylon Jennings, like when I'm actually sanding and prepping.
Interesting.
And then normally it's like when I start going into something like before the spray booths, it's like I'll play like Alice in Chains. I love like Staley.
Yeah.
And I'll like listen to
So different moods for different processes.
for different processes that I gotta do, and it's like a lot of times it takes me out of it. Like I don't like to, if I'm spraying all day, I don't like to prep on that day. If I'm gonna be doing like metal like stuff with like John Cobb and guys like that, I like to keep it separate, so it kind of almost gets me into a different realm.
mode, yeah.
And it's but it's something that it just came to me, like when I would see things. I never thought that I was gonna be good at something, but when I learned from a guy who had been doing it for probably about maybe 40 years, he was talking to me one day and he said, you have this ability to think through a process that basically goes beyond this. So he said what took him like 20 years to learn, I condensed it into 3 months, and then he just said it's time for you to go.
Isn't that great?
He just said that, he's like, I've never seen anything like this, where you meet some guys that just do like, refinishing.
Yeah.
You don't see guys that do builds. You see guys that, spray lacquer, but if they want oil base, we're knowledgeable and well-rounded like on everything, he was telling me, it's like basically you're like 5 guys in one. So we also do upholstery. We do a lot of other stuff too. And it was kind of like everybody that's in our group, to be a part of our team, they have to be multifaceted. And that's kind of like almost a prerequisite, that it's like, I don't need a single person that just does one thing. I need them to do metal work,
That's
plus canvas
the
art.
best thing, yeah. So speaking of team, do you guys do you have several people like who handles the office part of stuff? Because if you're building, you don't have time to go sell and
that's what I was
even if I did, I wouldn't do that.
Who's on the team, and how did you put this team together, man?
So basically, it's like what I looked at was one. Mandy runs like the office. She handles taxes. She handles the shop, and she does a lot of the stuff like face to face with customers, and then customers and clients like come and talk to me. But I knew that it's like I wanted to be good at certain things, but you hit that point where it's like, unless you're a dog jerker offer, I could probably do that like next week. I could do that next week. I really believe I could be good at
that. We can be you like tomorrow.
Just
jerking off dogs.
Hey, you can practice tonight. Not with your dog. There's other ways to try.
This guy's from like a French bulldog. I'm more of like a Rottweiler, so it's really different. But when I started getting the teams together, I just found out, like what I always say, it's like where people will look at us and go, "You're really strong at this," or they'll say, "You're knowledgeable." When I was talking to your guys, like, "Man, this guy knows his stuff," or whatever. I know my weaknesses better than my strengths, and where I know where I have my weaknesses is where I have to incorporate somebody else.
Perfect.
So if I knew that I wanted to be a good metal worker, I knew that I couldn't be a good woodworker. I would have to dedicate a lot of time. But the guys that are metal fabricators, John Cobb is probably the best guy out there that I've ever seen, and his mind works exactly like mine. And it's like one of those things that whenever, like, I'm talking about work now, but like I guarantee you, like if we hung out somewhere else, I won't be talking about work. And a lot of the guys that I work with all the time, we're going to Galveston to like this art walk at the Strand. We just hang out. We're just friends. So it becomes uncomfortable when I'm around people, and that's all they want to talk about. Like, so what's your favorite furniture? What do you like to do? And like, what is your? It's just like, dude, I don't want to talk about that. My friends, we're talking about
jerking off.
I'm talking about jerking off blue Frenchies right now. It's but it's kind of like that's how we just became friends. And then me and Cobb. Don, I got paint all over my hands, so I was teaching him this dipping process on how to get like colors on canvases. So he was doing that. He's become a phenomenal artist, and he's been doing all my prep work. So he's a guy that he learns, like, I always teach guys from what makes money. So I always try to tell them too, my paint schemes, I do have like this plan that I go out, but if it's prepped wrong, it looks bad. Yeah. So basically I always say you have to have a lot more hours in prepping than you do painting. So he's been doing it for about a year now and progressing into like the spraying. Bo Huff is kind of like handles like a lot of the art stuff. He got me into it. Jim Gott is our woodworker, and just guys that just came into with us. And what I didn't realize is I think when you work by yourself for a long time, it's kind of like, I'm not saying I'm gifted or anything like that because I'll never elevate myself like that. But sometimes it's like I just realized that I had a common bond. Like I've never met your woodworking before,
Jared,
but I can talk to him about what we're doing. Yeah. But if you want to talk about,
spend 30 minutes out there.
So if you want to talk about, like,
that's what we said. I was like, man, I don't know if we're gonna get him in the podcast. He's out there
working out there. Like, look, guys, you're doing it all wrong.
He picked up the sander, and we're like, hey, man, chill.
I'm like, where's Troy?
I was like, how do you get all these white guys in this shop? There's no Mexicans like over here working. It's like over here. It was my thing to be out there, but it's but yeah. So the group of guys, that's how we kind of met, and we just kind of meshed together, and it's an overall vision that I try to tell people that when you talked about the brand earlier, I would say our brand is not different. We're just really like detail oriented, where it's like where a lot of people will say, well, we don't need to paint the underside of this table. No one's going to see it. I see it when I refinish it. So with the guy, like I said, the biggest compliment to me would be like somebody to take our stuff 30 years from now and see if they can make it better. Because when I see people's stuff, I'm like, dude, these guys didn't take the back off. There's stain running down the sides. It just looks sloppy. And a lot of times it's, I always say that people ask me, has anybody reworked my work before? And I said, no, but I have. Because I've had clients who will say they want a different color. And it basically, when I'm taking it apart, it's like it's this familiar, like this being familiar with it. It just kind of, I think that it'll be really hard for somebody to come in and top it. I think that they will one day, but I think that kid's probably like 5 or 10 years old right now.
That's the one thing when antique surgeon or people call us all the time trying to sell us stuff, and some of the older pieces are like, have you touched it? That's the first thing I ask. And if they try to refinish it, I'm like, unless you can send me some credentials, I'm not interested. And that's kind of like a woodworker's nightmare to see something that's like tried to be redone where they spray paint metal. Like, come on. Like, sometimes it's just better left old, It
is. But you have guys.
Unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. You have a question?
So here we go. This is when the table. Troy's gonna start doing Nico here.
Like Jason did last week. Yeah. I was like, what the hell? Threw me all off.
But real quick, because you know the team that you put together, right? The guys, are these guys like? Are they just walking in and saying, man, like, are they subcontractors? Did you put like, I'm hiring sign, or like, you know, like, no, because it's not easy to be able to work, especially when you're an artist, to have someone next to you that is either complimenting you, you know, or pushing and motivating you to the next level. Otherwise, it's some guy that you're like, this guy's getting on my nerves.
Well, normally, like, you know, I look for certain qualities, like in people, and one, it's kind of like their heart and their character of their work. They have integrity in the work. The other thing is too, like, I meet a lot of people, and the first thing they'll do is like grab their phone and look, this is what I did, and look, you know, I did this here, and I can do it just like you or whatever. A lot of the guys that are on our team, I had no idea how good they were, because they weren't showing me their work. And then I'm thinking, like, why didn't you show me this like 3 weeks ago, man? Because I could have really like used you like then. So I think that there's this like really like humbleness that we all work with. Where I always say that our confidence comes in our finished product, but we don't have to talk about our work. Our work speaks for itself. Yeah. And if I have to, like, you know, you got to come to our shop and we have the best furniture and we're better than this. Now, it's basically this cover up, and I hear a lot of people talk like that, and that's why I always say it's kind of like they're just protecting like something. So, we'll pick it apart. Like,
that's kind of
people do the talking.
Yeah, for it.
That's kind of how it is with our office furniture. That I tell people all the time, and for us, it's a little bit different because we're not artists, we're not unique, but the way we handle our business is, and we tell people all the time, you might be able to find something cheaper, but you're not buying the Ace experience. You know, you can buy something and it can be cheap, but you not get a good service. And it sounds like that's kind of what you do with yours, is that it really is a passion, man. It's really cool.
You have to like you, man. That's the thing too. Like, I feel like that when people get to know us, they want to buy from us because they like us. There's times that it's like, I might love a piece of art and I get to meet the artist, and I'm like, God, that guy's an asshole, and I don't want to buy it just because of that. Like, you know, so it is the experience.
That's a true feeling.
I got a question.
Be around somebody because it feels good.
Definitely, you gotta be around with your coworkers, and like playing onto that. What's a day like at 209 Studios? Like, what happens in the morning? What time are people getting there? What's the jobs? Is there multiple things going on at once? I'm really curious on what happens at that.
There is, man, and I'm like the type of person that it's like, you know, I get up early, so like as you can tell, I work out. So I'm at the gym.
I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell. Well, you're too busy jerking off dogs. Man. That's like what the deal is. But no, it's I get up. I'm at the gym sometimes around like 4:30 to like 5 in the morning. Then I'm already kind of processing like my day, so I have to work in patterns. Like, you know, so I have a pattern like kind of set like what I'm going to do. But I open the shop up, get everything ready. And then I normally have like furniture that I'm not going to be working on today. I was spraying like a desk, and we're doing like some bundle work on the credenza. During that time, like Bo Huff might come in, and he's like another like artist. Like John Cobb called me, and you know, we're talking, like, you know, he stops by. On any given day, it's like it's being able to know, like, my thing is, if I know my pattern, then nobody can really break it because I know what I'm going to do, and I always leave something. It's so crazy. I'm superstitious on everything. So it's
superstitious
on everything. So like, even like whenever I'm doing something, like I always leave something left done for tomorrow, because in my mind it's like, I don't know if you guys get anxiety or anything like that. Sometimes I feel if everything's complete, that I have a better chance of dying because everything's done. So it's like when I get to the shop, I'm like, okay, I got this to do. I left it like here. I'm going to clean this water bottle up. I'll leave it like in a certain spot.
Yeah.
It always gives you something to do. But any given day, it's always different.
So I'm here tomorrow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting philosophy. I like it.
So, man, just really quick offline, because one of the things I was curious about was like, and especially because it came later in life for you, like, it was art something that like was passed down to your children, right? And so you were telling us the story of your
Ava, like,
yeah.
So basically, Ava took to painting. Like, she's been painting since she was 3.
So explain the whole story, because there needs going to be some context of what we were talking about.
Right. Yeah. So about Ava? Okay. So Ava, like, you know, she wanted to always be at the shop and paint with me. Yeah. And this was more canvas, not like on furniture. Yeah. So I kind of started seeing like the potential that she actually had, because it was like when she was painting, like I couldn't understand like her color schemes. Like when I do my color schemes, I know like, okay, I like this. I'm going to match it up with this piece of art, this other piece that we're doing. So she was using like a blue one day. So I asked her, like, why are you using blue? And then she was like, well, it's really beautiful outside, and I want to kind of capture the color of the sky.
Nice.
I knew that she had a different process of thinking where some kids just want to grab and mix certain things. And whenever she would do things, she always had like, well, what do you think I can sell this for? Or what do you think, you know? And I'm thinking like, God, you know, she wants to sell me, like, you know, it's like so crazy. She's trying to sell me her own stuff that I'm, you know, doing with her. So it kind of, like I said, I can see that it can be something that's passed down. The one thing that, you know, as a parent, you know, I love sports, and I always say, like, in sports, you can have like Michael Jordan's, like Mike Tyson's, like guys that just basically transcend the sport.
Right.
Their kids never surpass
they
them.
don't,
So my biggest thing is I always try to tell my kids, you know, I'm weak because I don't like to be like in the shop all the time working and dealing with customers. It's like maybe they can take it further than what I'm not good at.
And have a true experience.
Than to say, like, maybe appreciate like what it is that we're doing. But I started doing this in my late 40s because I had nothing. You know, I had no job, nothing. I had basically burned some bridges when it came down to like addiction issues and things like that. That it made me hungrier, and I had a different drive than these kids are going to have. And so I'm not saying that she's not going to be great at what she's doing. I think that she's going to be great, more well-rounded than I am when it comes to like business. My oldest, Mackenzie, likes to do more of like the furniture painting. I talked to her when I was dropping off at school like earlier in the week. In the summer, she wants to start working in the shop and start learning how to prep and like all these things. I think they get more to the allure of like, this is what they're doing like at a certain shop so they can go tell their friends. When I was doing it in a garage next to a lawnmower, there was no glamour like in it, and it's kind of like they're doing it more for this like statement like type thing. So it's just kind of like, you know, like I said, I don't put any pressure like on them. I love them no matter what. Like my mom always told me that it didn't make a difference if I'm on a magazine or a podcast. She's proud of me, even when I was at my lowest. And with my kids, it's the same philosophy that I have. I want them to do well, but I want them to be great. I always tell them that it's like it's one thing to find your passion and what you're good at, but then it's once you find it, you have to have the mindset of how can I be better than anybody else who's ever done this. And that's the thing that when I work during the day and I get tired, I start to tell myself, you know, there might be somebody younger right now that's not tired. Looking at these things, and it always keeps me like in check, like with it. And I always say that, you know, I haven't mastered it. I'm learning every day more and more about lacquers, about different paints. But as soon as I think that I've got it mastered, then the craft mastered me, and it's time to get out because I'm going to start taking some shortcuts.
What taught you that? Like, how did you build that character trait?
I think it's from always being like a person that was never like picked for anything. Like, you know, you meet some guys, and I love like running into guys I went to high school with, and you know, you can look on Facebook and oh my God, they're on vacation again. It makes you feel like shit. Like, dude, I need to get my life together. I can't go like anywhere.
They only post the good stuff.
They post the good stuff. I'm
gonna start posting like, I'm gonna start posting the selfies like in a crappy urinal, freaking diarrhea all over the.
My dog peed on me.
Okay. When me and Nicole have a fight, I'm just gonna post like, I'm just gonna get into it. Like,
go live. Here too. But I've always had that. I guess, like, you know, I just wanted to, like I said, you know, I think everybody wants to leave a footprint, like, you know, from, like, you know, from what they've done. And a lot of times, you know, when I meet guys that, you know, guys that think that they're great fathers and things like that, you know, I always say it's like, I love hearing it and I love your confidence. You know what I mean? If you think you're a great father. But I really think that it comes down to, like, I don't think that I'm a great furniture painter, but if the clients that I work for said that, there's a lot of clout with that. Your kids are the ones that are going to determine whether you're good or not. And a lot of times you'll find out, oh, my parents did this. It's this big, like, you know, thing. But it was just, to me, like, I just want to make a footprint. I knew that with furniture, it actually lived in people's homes. So I knew I had the longevity with that. When I designed women's clothing, it was just basically going to be sitting in a closet. They're only going to wear it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and it's just stuck away. And then, you know, you might see it at Goodwill or whatever. And I just knew that there was something that I wanted to be great. I just didn't know what it was. And like what I always try to tell people when I talk to kids at school, if you think you have a plan of what you're going to do, everyone wants to make $100,000, go to college and do all these great things. I started at 40 years old. And a lot of times the guys that had your plan, I see them and they're asking me for jobs. You know,
not my plan.
Not your plan over here.
I went to Texas State University, and it was not the Texas State that y'all think of.
It's way better to do something. I tell my kids all this all the time. I'm
prison system.
Dude, I tell them, I'm like, use daddy. You know, like use daddy's money and and stay here at the house and gamble on yourself. If you've got a dream, invest in it while you're here and you don't have responsibilities outside this house.
Yeah.
You know, like do something that you're passionate about, and not necessarily for the money, but that you'll love doing the rest of your life. I was like, that's what's going to make you happy, you know?
Man, so I got a cool, and this might be pre, but speaking of that in your child Noelle, that we're going to try to hire her as an intern to come in.
She's excited
and start
about that.
doing some of the production part and some of the SEO through our YouTube channel. And man, I'm telling you, if we spend some time with her, she will have a career as an entrepreneur if she wants.
She's stoked about it, man. She thinks just even from a standpoint of resume building,
that,
you know,
beautiful.
Like she would do like the We Don't Know JAK Going All In podcast, you know,
director.
Or you know, like even like marketing, you know, like something like that, you know, some title like that, right? So she's stoked about that.
That's exciting news, man. We're excited to get that going.
Man, I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about this, Troy, but you mentioned it and I wrote it down when we were talking before the show. And so you said that you do something at your house called Bible and Beers, man.
It's not at the house. It's actually at the shop. So my sister has that Henry's, which is that cigar lounge and bourbon bar that they open, which is on our property. So
no, I didn't know that.
So yeah, we have a cigar lounge, and then Henry, he's the actual, like, it's named after him.
Okay.
That's next to the store?
It's right. Yeah, it's basically we have, or my sister and her husband have a 1956 Spartan.
Yeah.
We basically completely gutted and renovated the whole thing. And we have Bibles and beers. And that was the thing, you know, I meet a lot of guys, and it's kind of like, it's so funny that, like, when you want to get to know somebody, like, even though I don't drink, friends will always just have that expression, like, hey, we need to go grab a beer sometime, and just come and hang out and just talk and catch up. Well, I figured, like, you know, when it came to, like, you know, Bible studies, people were so, like, well, you know, we got to be, like, real righteous, and we got to be, you know, all these kind of things. And a lot of times, you know, like, to know somebody, sometimes the drink's a good thing, you know what I mean?
Opens
like
people up, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of...
it's like a breaking of bread, really.
Yeah, it is. You know, so we started that, and it was just basically a success, and we actually have it tonight, and, you know, I didn't cancel it. It's the guys are there. And to me, it's important.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, shout out to the
Joe.
Bibles and beers over there, too. Have a shot. Like right now over here. Every time you hear Jesus, we have a shot. So,
is that how it works?
No, I wish it would. I just made that up right now. If it gets you there, we will do that.
Well, I don't drink either. So, I've been in recovery for almost 4 years sobriety from alcohol. I had an alcohol problem. I don't know if I was a raging alcoholic, but I don't drink either. But I believe in what you're saying, that breaking a beer with somebody builds some sort of relationship, and I think that affects my business career. I think if I could go out and have some beers with clients, it would definitely help. And I think it's cool that you're incorporating religion.
Here's what you do: send me in your place. All right, I'll grease the wheels, man.
Grease the wheels.
Kevin, he doesn't drink. Nico doesn't really drink.
I don't, but I will in a situation like that.
Every once in a while. And I'm not a drinker either. I mean, not because I have an issue. I just decided not to drink this year.
He does have an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
My thing was
his wife has an issue.
My thing was
his wife has an issue with him.
My thing was that I didn't want one beer. And people ask, oh, just have one beer. I mean, I drank to get drunk, dude. And like, I know one beer is going to lead to another beer, so I just cut it out of my life.
There's no other reason to do it.
Yeah, there really is.
Nicole will ask me.
Or that social thing that I miss, but whatever. It is what it is. You know, people respect it when I tell them I don't drink. They're like, damn. And it's almost like most people don't want to drink all the time. Right. Because every time I tell someone, they're like, oh, dude, I want to quit drinking so bad, you know?
It's hard.
It's hard. It is.
My wife will have like a glass or two of wine a week, you know, something like that. But she'll always like open up a bottle and say, "You sure you don't want some?" And I'm like, first of all, what's one glass of wine gonna do for me?
You're an addict.
I was like, no, I'm like, it's not, maybe I catch a buzz, but probably not. You know, it's gonna take more than one. I'm gonna feel dehydrated after. I'm gonna get the headache because I'm dehydrated.
At the end of the night.
Yeah, it was extra calories, the sugar, insulin levels, empty calories at that, right? Diarrhea the next day. Forget it, dude.
Yeah, what kind of wine are you drinking?
Mandy, where's my MD 2020?
That's what I'm talking about. Where is it at?
I bet you.
Is she?
She's gonna come by, I think.
Oh, well, we got to make sure that she doesn't do it while we're during the show because she might get robbed out there. Man.
Right, I know, man.
No, she's not gonna get robbed. This is a very nice place.
Yeah,
people are welcome.
we have security. Everything's going on.
What
Well,
security y'all talking about?
There's nothing to worry about here.
I can tell when
Come to
she
the
pulls
furniture
up.
place.
Right,
Everything is
it's
safe
safe.
here.
Friggin'
Nothing to worry about.
Ooh, like freaking.
My thing with drinking, man, I stopped not because I had an issue. I was a social drinker. Like when I would go and hang out, I would drink. You know, and I can, like, you know, Nico says, like, what is one drink gonna do? I can go and have one drink and I'm fine. It's the times that I'm like, I'm going to get fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going out to drink and to, like, you know, and those were the times that were issues. And I never really, man, I guess in the past few years, I never really had an issue like drinking. Yeah. I just decided that I just didn't want to drink.
Wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
What
was your reason for giving it up?
Man, you know, one, I knew that I drank. I mean, I drank to a point like where it wasn't a matter of like, I would love to have that point of view saying like, I just want to drink to get drunk. I was just drinking all the time. So I was drinking. I was drinking a bottle of vodka like a day. And then it's like a lot of times people would be like, man, when I saw you, and it was kind of like, you know, you seem normal, whatever it is. And that's what I tell them, you know, it's a depressing. Like if I didn't do like cocaine or other drugs, I would just crash out. And
so you were like trying to level yourself out? It
was like, I think it was, if you ever saw that movie Flight with Denzel Washington, and he's like, oh, they get that Goodman in there and he's doing this and you just walk in. It's exactly, that's what it is. And you know your combinations of what's going to work. And I mean, the reason I stopped, it's been 6 years since I've had like a drink.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, man. It's hard, man, because I was like, I had this, what people never understood is it's like, alcohol, it wasn't the answer. You know, I'm not going to sit there and say that, but it did serve its purpose. A lot of times it felt like, you know, it was my companion and my best friend. And a lot of times most people say, man, I'm so happy for you, this. I feel like my best friend died and you're over here congratulating me. That was the only thing that gave me comfort. And now it's like, you know, being married and it just opened my eyes to a world that it's kind of, I would have missed.
Yeah, I feel the same way. When I quit drinking, I felt like I lost my best friend, and I didn't hang out with people for a year or two just because I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable, and at the same time, I didn't feel comfortable either. And it was strange how it unfolded, you know. My friendships grew differently, and it was just an interesting experience not drinking, and it's tough. It really is. You have to change your lifestyle. And the one thing I noticed was the freedom that I had, because throughout my whole entire life, everything revolved around where we getting beers at. We go to a hotel, what's the bar like? You know, we're going on a resort, where are we going to the clubs? Like everything was centered, ball games, baseball, all this stuff. And then recently I've been hanging out with Nico sober. We went to a baseball game. That was the first time I've been to a baseball game sober my whole life. You know, like there's all these new experiences that at first I was sad that they weren't there. And now I'm like, man, this is like experiencing a whole new world, because my life revolved around alcohol. And I was kind of like you, I think. I was a very, very good drunk. You could not tell. I could pound a bottle of whiskey, stand up straight, wouldn't slur, never blacked out. And then, so it's harder on the guys with good alcohol tolerance.
Dude used to jerk off multiple dogs. Breaking down bottles of
when I was drinking, dude, I was two-handed.
Man, I don't know where we're at on time, but I don't want to miss the way back Wednesdays. Okay.
So we're at 47 minutes on the clock, so we have plenty of time for way back Wednesday.
We definitely have our Spotify listeners that will
halfway through. I want to get a good plug for Troy to plug his business.
Yeah, why don't we do that now and then we'll do it again?
Let's do this now, because we are going to clip out some of this stuff to make smaller videos for you. So Troy, introduce yourself, introduce your company,
your handles,
you're going to come in. You're going to come in right here. So tell us your name, tell us your business, tell us where they can find us.
Take your shirt
this
off.
is
Take
Troy.
my shirt off right here too.
This is the We Don't Know Jack show. We Don't Know Jack show. Going all in with Troy. Troy, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Troy Garza. I'm the owner of 209 Design House in Muse 301 in Tomball, Texas. We specialize in refinishing furniture, so we specialize in lacquer, but we do custom builds, metal fabrication, you know, live edge tables. We do upholstery as well. And over the past year, we've gotten into art. So you can find us at 209 Fannin Street in Tomball, Texas. And we just want to make it a destination. I mean, I can explain anything to you on here, but till you physically visit us, then you'll get the whole experience.
Cool.
I'll either I or I'll have Noel put the put all their stuff on the.
Yeah, we'll have all the links on, and so man, congratulations. We loved having you on the show. It's not over yet, so let's keep talking. You're talking too much already. So.
Right, okay, sorry about that, man. I felt like I've been talking enough.
So every week, when we used to be on Fridays, and we switched it to Wednesday nights from Friday mornings, which is probably way better.
I love it.
Man, that process was tough. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Mikey couldn't make any Fridays. He
man, just because I couldn't make a Friday, man, it was the end of the world over here, man. Right. Kevin was fucking.
You were the glue to the whole show.
We used to actually we used to put like different pictures in the chair every week and pretend it was Mike. Be like, yeah, Mikey.
No, man, just because my company we're busy on the weekends, like you know what I mean. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We do a lot of corporate stuff during the week.
Events.
Double Oak events, baby. This, but because of that, man, Kevin would not accept that I was actually busy. He's like, you don't got shit to do.
Okay, so the thing is that Mikey called me and asked why he wasn't on the podcast when it was me and you. Yeah. So we let him in.
No,
he came to one episode.
No,
he wanted to from the beginning.
Before the beginning of the podcast, you guys asked me if I wanted to be in it.
We're not going to.
Well, you did. I didn't. He called both of us.
Yeah.
So.
He asked me.
I apologize.
Anyways, okay.
I apologize whatever happened, but we're glad you're back. We're glad it's on Wednesdays. Yeah. Wednesday's a better day. We can let loose. It's night. We haven't been leaving the studio till 10 o'clock. We've been having a blast.
So every
welcome back.
Every week we do like a flashback Friday, but now it's called a Way Back Wednesday.
Way Back Wednesday.
So I've got one for today. I'm going to go ahead and tell it just in case Troy can think of one that he wants to tell, because we've always liked to let the guest tell one if they've got one.
So explain Way Back Wednesday. It doesn't have to be funny. It doesn't have to be not funny. It doesn't have to be
It can be funny. It can be inspirational. It can be crazy, life-threatening, life-altering.
Yeah, unique story.
Something like, whatever, man. So I come in today into the studio, and every week we're here, Kevin puts like different props up here,
Crystals.
Yeah. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what Nico said. He's like,
I said, dude, I don't know about these devil worship crystals, man. And I'm just kind of teasing, I'm kind of teasing because I have a story about this, right? So.
Petrified.
Be careful touching that one.
Petrified. Freshly female.
See how he gets that one and puts it
These guys were both at my wedding. And at my wedding, my dad.
I was actually in prison at his wedding. Really?
Oh, yeah, you weren't there. I just looked at those pictures the other day, man. I'm sorry.
Not even one.
He was busy.
He was busy. Yeah, he was so busy. Great for you.
I was mad that I wasn't there.
Okay, so here's the story.
All right,
we had a wedding, and we're in Galveston, where my dad lives. We do the wedding. We do the reception at his restaurant. My dad brought a date to our wedding, and it was a lady that he was dating for about a year, but she was my age, And my dad's a little bit older as far as like him and my mom were never married. They were just like casual fling. They worked at the same restaurant. Bada bing, bada bang. Right. I don't meet him till I'm 17. That's not entirely true. I met him when I was 12, and then we didn't come back to see each other until I was 17. So, in any case, we're down there to visit him. This is after the wedding, me and Nicole, and the lady Kathleen. She was a yoga instructor, and she was like really into holistic stuff. Herbal everything, like trans meditation. Seemed like a nice person, but she was ditzy. She was like this real bubbly, airy person. Really attractive. I mean, just really attractive. So I got it. I understood why he was with her. Understood why he brought her to the wedding. Right. In any case, we go down there to visit him because we had started a relationship when I was 17, or more of a relationship, and started making that bond. So me and Nicole would go down there sometimes just to hang out with him, and he was like, "Hey, you guys come down. Y'all stay at Kathleen's, and she'll stay over at my place." So okay, all right. I walk into Kathleen's house, man. There's like all these books on all this different like Wicca stuff and just really crazy, outlandish, new age stuff. But she's got crystals over every door frame, and like you open the refrigerator up, and there's just crystals. I mean, this is just craziness. We go to get into the bed and go to sleep, and I told my wife, I was like, wait, I got to check something real quick. I don't know why I had to stop, but I was like, I've got to check something real quick. I jump out of the bed. I pull the bed cover up. I look underneath the bed that was off the ground, and there's a pentagram.
Fuck that. I'm out.
With different crystals, all on the pentagram. And so I said, you know what, babe? I was like, oh my God, it's way too late to go get a hotel. You know, I was like, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to take authority right now over these crystals. And I said, Lord, for tonight, let these crystals be for the intended purpose that you wanted them to be. Just crystals. So it was weird. Like, I slept with the lights on because I thought for sure I was going to get like awakened by demons. The next morning, you know, my dad calls. He's like, "Oh, meet us for breakfast." And okay, yeah, we'll come do that. And he's by the end of the telephone call, he's like, "Hey, what'd you think about Kathleen's place?" I was like, and I was about to say, "Dude, this place is weird." And he was like, "Freaky as shit, right?" He's like, "I won't even go over there, man. I'm scared to death of demonic spirits." I was like, "Thanks, dude. Put us down here." Yeah. So that's my way back Wednesday.
Yeah. So the crystals are the crystals here. I actually found this one, believe it or not. I live in Colorado. I lived on Crystal Mountain. We used to go crystal hunting. I don't believe in their powers.
I don't believe in none of that either. I don't like. Is that a real thing?
Well, this has the power to knock you out of a
So these crystals are, to some people, hold power, like religious power and stuff. I just collect them because I think they're cool.
You found this.
I've actually, so this crystal right here, I'll put it in front of the camera. So this crystal right here came right down the street from my house. And I have one of these.
House in Colorado.
We lived on a place called Crystal Mountain. And we found this in a pocket. And the pocket was like this big. And we had a whole king size sheet laid out of pieces like this. And I have some more at home. So yeah, it was really fun. The graders would come through and they would kick up the rocks, you know, and then you'd go hunt after them.
He learned from a long time ago that you can't jerk your French Bulldog off with those. It's too abrasive.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So Troy, man, did you have a story? You don't have to have a story, but do you have a story in mind?
Man, I got a story. Nothing like that.
Yeah,
I know it was none of your questions in there, but like I have this like really strange like phobia. Okay. And basically it has to do, and it's like I don't want to say the wrong term, but like when this happened to me, it was a different name. But I had gotten bit by a little person when I was living in California.
So a midget?
Oh, yeah, you can't say that word, man.
Yeah, dude.
I said it before.
Dude, I don't give a shit.
We're
midget,
sorry.
Small
we're sorry.
People, PC, science is for pussies, whatever
they
you
like
want.
People. They like little people.
I don't care. I mean, whatever.
And this is when I was drinking. So it was my sister, and we were out on Sunset Boulevard in California. So we were drinking all day at the House of Blues, and then they were having this like hairband night at this place called the Whiskey. So there was this line around the corner. None of us could get in. So I just wanted to look around the corner to see how many people were there. So I looked, and all of a sudden I feel somebody like grab my shirt. And I'm like, damn, like, what's going on? You can't cut in line. You can't cut in line. So yeah, I turn around, and this is, I couldn't even make this up, man. There was a little person wearing fishnet stockings, like a dress. And the high heels look like those little plastic ones that we used to grow up with, like little Barbie. Kids wore. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized she was on a leash. And then her boyfriend was probably 6'4". So it was just kind of like
super awkward.
Probably something that had to be jerked off to inseminate her. At that point, it's probably, I wish she was there. But anyway, to make a long story short, we decided to go to the Rainbow Room, which was right next door to it. So anyway, I look and I see these guys. I'm like, oh my God, that's Johnny Knoxville. So I saw a Wee Man, Bam was there, Chris Pontus, like all the guys from Jackass were like there.
Yeah.
So night goes on, we drink even more, and then there's like this like open area. It looks like a dance floor, but it's just not. It's just kind of this like cleared out section. The restroom was over there, and that's where I was going. So I was walking, to the bathroom. All of a sudden, I just hear somebody start yelling at me, and I turn around and I look, and it's the same person, and said something like, "Oh, you're gonna cut in line again?" And I'm thinking, like, dude.
Question: Was it on the leash? Was she still on the leash?
This is where it gets off.
Okay, sorry.
So basically, the answer is no.
Oh, so, she's loose.
Loose. So she starts yelling, and then I look over there, and I see her big, tall, and he was like this goth guy, like just out there. So I'm short. I'm only about 5'8". So I walked up over to him and I said, you know what? I liked it a lot better when you had her on a leash. So This is the whole thing. I wish I could stand up and reenact this thing because it seemed like it took like 2
Man,
years.
we got enough action here to you to stand up if you want to reenact this. I got you on full screen now, man.
All
so
right.
go
I'll try
ahead.
after here. Scene. All right. So she's probably about maybe.
Just get over this
10
way a little bit.
yards.
Push that chair out of the way. We got you. Let's act this out.
So I'm standing like this. So I made a comment to
I'm a
him.
little person.
She heard me. Yeah, right here too. Like on that. This. All of a sudden, it goes into this full sprint where she's running right at me, and I'm thinking to myself, like, is this happening?
Oh
And all I see is like these little high heels making this like clunk, 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 clunk noise like on there, and I'm kind of just like waiting, like, you know, it seems like I was waiting like on a slow curveball. Kind of went there, I'm like, okay, wait. When she hit me, it felt like if you picked up a 60-pound bag of concrete and just threw it like in your torso. It was the weight, and it just freaked me out. I felt like I was like grabbing 2 watermelons like for legs, and she clamped on and bit me in my ear.
What?
So my ear is still like the cartilage like broke like right here. I have like a scar like in my ear. Blood just started coming down my face. So then I'm thinking like, oh my gosh. So you think that you're strong, but it's like I couldn't physically pick her up because it was just like literally the weight was just so condensed.
Yeah.
So finally I just like went like this and I threw her, and I swear she kind of bent like a cat because she landed right like on her feet, and then she did this like little backup thing. I'm like, dude, this is insane. So I started walking to the bathroom, and my sister's like, what the fuck just happened? And then while I'm going, Johnny Knoxville like grabs me, and he's like, Army just never bit anybody. And it was like, wee man, like standing there. To this day, I get like so scared of like, it's not scared like I freak out.
Yeah.
But how dope was it that
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville was like, saw the whole thing
Yeah.
and was like, bro.
Yeah. And so like to this day, it's like so funny because my sister's still like, you know, some people have phobias of clowns or whatever it is. My heart will just start like racing on there. And my buddy Ryan Rica, like he was doing some shoes that he's a custom bootmaker, but he was doing them for a little person. And when I saw these shoes that he was making, it like brought flashbacks that it's like, I'm not saying that I can relate to guys in Vietnam, but I get it. Like it was all of a sudden,
PTSD,
I
man.
could just hear that little clatter of like the little
You start covering
like
your
this,
ears, you're like,
like rocking like a baby like in there. So
yeah,
that's my way back Wednesday story. Even though
Honestly, that's a
it
great
happened on a
story.
So
Thursday.
that's the best way back Wednesday, which hasn't been long. That's the best flashback Friday that I've heard. I love that one, man. That's great.
Right.
The funny thing about it
You know
is,
it's
too,
good when you wish it happened to you.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take
No,
some
no, you
broken ear
don't.
cartilage
Yeah,
over
you
that.
don't.
That's awesome.
Don't
The
put
funny
that on
thing
me.
is, I think you can rent little people and then throw them on the walls with Velcro suits on. Have y'all seen that?
I've seen that. Like I've seen it.
That made me think of that when you said you threw the little.
You can, but it's like they have to have some
Yeah,
sort of
you
like
just
straps.
can't.
Yeah, and you just toss
because
them.
you can't do it like natural. Like I mean, there's just. I mean, you can, but you better be like
Yeah,
Dwayne
get the
Johnson
grip.
or something like that, man.
Hopefully,
can't
no one
imagine.
will ever have to go through that experience.
Dude.
It sounds like it's
Yeah.
traumatized.
I think so, but I think we live in
In a
different
bar.
age.
And you said it was a hairband?
No, that was
Oh,
going to
that's
be
a
the
different
whiskey.
place.
And then,
Okay.
since we couldn't get
Yeah.
in, we went to the
Okay.
Rainbow Room, which was
Okay.
right next door to the whiskey.
Okay, so stay away from the rainbow room so you
Wow,
don't
yeah.
get bit.
Or
Yes.
go.
Or go.
Or
Yeah,
go.
I mean, I'll go now because I
Right,
wanted
me too.
that to happen to me. I hope I run into the same chick because I'll
That'd be
freaking
crazy.
tell her in the eye.
I wish you had a camera at that
I'm
point.
kidding.
and
I would never hit a wall.
Social media
And
would
that's
go.
funny because it happened like in the early 2000s, where like basically phones weren't really around. Like you
Yeah.
had them, but
Oh,
they were
filming,
on.
yeah.
That would've been dope.
So it wasn't that.
That would have been so awesome. You're like, wait, hold on.
Like, yeah, watch this.
Yeah, come on out.
Dude, I just noticed, man, your hat is dope, dude.
We really like that hat. His family got it for his birthday. What
Yeah,
were you,
they did.
32?
I am 32
32.
years old.
Just a baby.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about out of time. Troy, 209th Design, thank you for coming out.
Absolutely.
Nico, why don't you take us out of the show? Let Troy plug his stuff one more time, and then
Yeah,
we'll
let's
see
do
y'all
that first.
See y'all next.
Troy,
So,
man, I just
cameras on you guys.
Yeah. 209 Designs, Tomball, Texas. We're at 209 Fannin Street, right in Old Town Tomball. You can check us out on Instagram at 209 Designs, Facebook at 209 Designs, and our website, 209designs.com.
All right.
If you're worried about rising fuel costs, just stop driving for the next 2 weeks. You'll flatten the curve. Okay.
Curve. Okay, right, man.
Here's the deal. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Spotify listeners listening. If you can, hit subscribe. We really appreciate it. We'll be back with another guest and we'll give you a heads up on that, and we'll put all the details of that on the Instagram page.
Yeah, and you'll always check us out on we don't know JAK.com. That should have scheduled guests coming up. And again, we appreciate it, man. Great show, guys.
Oh yeah, and Becky, we got your Latin heat right here.
Right here, man. I told you.
Awesome, man.